also, fuck the Oscars. I'm just going to say that. Because we got nominations, and they're pretty boring, if I'm honest with you, with some key, welcome surprises, to be sure. But my goodness, it sounds like it's just no one's happy with it. Like, even the people that were meant to be happy with this nonsense are unhappy with it. So, like, what is the lay of the land if over the next 3 months of Oscar electioneering?
Yeah, so I think leading the pack was Everything Everywhere All at Once, followed by All Quiet on the Western Front, which was a little bit of a surprise, kind of a welcome surprise for me. It got nominated for a lot of the technical stuff, which is impressive, considering that, as I had mentioned earlier, that it was made for 20 million, which
That's
is pretty
insane.
impressive.
That is really
Yeah,
insane in this day
it
and
is.
age.
Yeah. And then, but I guess, let's not bury the lead here. The new thing, literally getting more interesting by the hour is this thing involving Andrea Riseborough. So if people don't know, Riseborough was sort of the unexpected nomination for Best Actress. And it kind of made everybody like raise an eyebrow and go, like what? Like that's weird.
Yeah.
Especially because she beat out other favorites like Viola Davis for The Woman King. And so what has come out since the nominations is that the wife of the director of the movie she was in, it's called To Leslie, where she plays a like an alcoholic mother who's basically at her wit's end. The wife of the director basically like sent out like email blasts to all of her famous friends. I guess she's like a really big like socialite in Hollywood, and
Ah.
she sent out all these emails saying vote for this movie, and she even gave all of her celebrity friends like talking points that they should like repost on Instagram and stuff. Like, here's what you should say, here's how you should say it. And all of her famous friends like posted about it. And so this is all like manufactured,
Okay.
and it's
Okay.
it's pretty crazy. Yeah. I mean, I guess like props to them for doing sort of a grassroots thing, but it's phony. I mean, it's all phony. It's
Yeah.
like most of the people voting for this probably haven't even seen the movie. And they're just like, "Oh, my friend wants me to vote for this, so I'll vote for it."
Doesn't that happen every year? Like, I don't know. I'm sitting here going like, what rule did she break? Like, what did anyone break? Not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
her. Because isn't this how the game is played? Isn't it like, oh, my friend is in that movie, I really want them to win, I'm going to vote for him. I haven't had time to see it, though. Like, how often do we hear that the boomers in the Academy don't actually see the movies they vote for?
Oh yeah, it happens all the time. Like I know there's a really really famous clip out there of like Jodie Foster admitting that every year she gives her ballot to her son because her son watches more movies than she does. So she just gives her ballot. Her
That
son fills it out for her.
that should disqualify you. I maybe
Yeah.
hot take for me, but it's like, this is such a prestigious and important thing. Why are they all being so flippant and frivolous with their vote? I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying. But here's the thing.
So, what is the problem? Like, I guess, like, do we like what is really the problem with this astroturfing, of her nomination?
Well, number one, I think the Academy is pissed that she's not playing by the rules, in that she's not using the Academy approved channels to hype up her thing. Because if people don't know, the Academy, they have all these like approved channels to like shill your stuff. And
Oh,
like one of the things is, I was reading about that, it's pretty interesting that the Academy Awards actually has their own email blast like program where you can pay $2,000 per email, and they will send out an email blast to the entire Academy. And so it's clearly, they're pissed because
they didn't
the
get their
two
cut.
Leslie people. Yeah, they didn't get their cut exactly. Um, but if we want to be like, sort of very very all about the rules about this. So the filmmakers actually did break the rules, and they did it because on Instagram they reposted a segment from Richard Roper's review of the movie where he said he compared Kate Blanchett's performance in Tar to Andrea Riseborough's. He basically said like, a lot of people are talking about Kate Blanchett's performance in Tar, but for my money, Andrea Riseborough is the best performance this year. And that's against the rules. You can't refer to other nominees when you're campaigning for your Oscars.
Whoa.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't realize there were so many rules about this stuff, but it makes sense. It's basically an HOA for your, creativity. God, but it just calls to mind, like, I don't know, in your neck of the woods, do they do like best of the best awards in like communities? Like, does your local paper do that?
Yeah, for like restaurants and stores and stuff.
And you know how much of a racket that is? Like,
Oh, yeah,
it's
for sure.
all a joke. It's just people basically do, like, you're astroturfing your numbers. You're getting all your employees and your friends and families and all of their network of people to vote. And in like Bismarck and Minot, you can vote multiple times. Like, you can vote once a day. So the whole idea is, hey, you vote as much as you can, literally, and we have the best chance of winning. So it's all just fake. It's all made up. It's just whoever works the hardest to gin up the votes versus who genuinely earns it. I don't know. It's just funny to me that's the problem. They didn't give the Academy their cut. They did something very rude, in how they made an Instagram post. And what are they going to do? Rescind her nomination?
That's what they're talking about.
Whoa!
Yeah, they're having a meeting this week. The Academy is, and that's on the table. So
Has this ever happened before for any reason? Has a nomination ever been taken back?
I don't know that. That would be a good thing to look into. But yeah, it's definitely at least a little unprecedented. I would just imagine. But yeah, I mean, when we talk about stuff like this, it makes me think back to our talk about the Sight and Sound thing, the GN Dealman, and all I think about is if you people think that that something like that can happen, that the GN Dealman thing can't be socially engineered into winning. Look at this, because this is a much bigger deal. This is on a much larger scale. This is with a much more prestigious institute. So if you think that stuff can't be socially engineered like that, it totally can. So
Wow. And in doing my research here, it is also not unprecedented to have a nomination taken away. It's happened for any kind of reason. Oh, this movie is not actually an original screenplay. It's based on something else, and they find that out at the 11th hour, and then so they got to take the nomination away, or some violation of the niceties of how a foreign language short film can be, up for nomination in the first place. Eligibility questions. Even like 13 Hours, the Benghazi movie, it had an Academy Award nomination taken away because they were doing telephone lobbying. Like, they were calling people and shaking them down for their votes. So yeah, I guess, not unprecedented that it's been, even The Godfather had a nomination taken away. The composer, because it was discovered that, oh, you just plagiarized another score you wrote for a different movie. That's the dirty secret of The Godfather. That theme is fugazi, But wow,
yeah, so
pretty crazy.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's probably something we'll touch on again next week if depending on how this meeting goes with the Academy. But I guess to talk more about the awards as a whole, was there anything that stuck out to you about the other stuff?
Not enough love for RRR. I understand and support that film, and I agree with everyone else who is upset that it didn't get more love than just for best original song. But we were running uphill with that one, guys. We were never gonna make inroads. And I wanted to ask you, when did best foreign language film turn into best international feature, and when could English language films be nominated for it? Because there's an Irish movie. Maybe it's in maybe it's in Gaelic or Celtic, but It's up for Best International Feature, which is an Oscar I didn't know existed until I looked at this nominee list. Because in my mind, it's just always been foreign language film.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I guess I never really processed that change, but yeah, that's a good question. But because yeah, it's interesting how how would something like Banshees of Inisherin not be in that category then?
Yeah, like
Um,
any movie, like hell, even like Everything Everywhere All at Once, like has like Mandarin throughout it. Like you could make the
mhm.
argument, but other than that, everything's pretty obvious. Like every time I see Steven Spielberg's name, I just get mad. I don't know why, it's irrational. But that dude just should not be up there. Uh, but I'm very happy that Anna de Armas got her Oscar nomination. But
Mhm.
what the fuck was up with some of these technical awards? Some of the movies that are up in those categories make no sense to me, like in editing and in
Yeah.
cinematography too. Like, God, like there was a few boys who I was certain would, boys and girls, who would be getting nominations that didn't, in favor of what seemed to be trendier picks.
Yeah, I mean that's totally what it is. It's just like instead of people looking at the individual categories and nominating something for that individual like aspect, they're nominating the movie as a whole. They're saying, I like this movie a lot as a whole, so I'm going to nominate it. So,
Yeah,
I mean, that's why we don't have stuff like Blonde in cinematography. That's why we don't have Babylon in editing because
yeah.
as much as I didn't like that movie, the editing was fantastic.
Peerless, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really stood out this year, like from last year. And that's, I think, maybe the sign of the times, though. There was a lot of divisive films from
Mhm.
2022. There was also a theme of like a lot of like stark contrast between how people received things. So a lot of really safe comfort blanket fucking movies are going to be on display, but notably people are very upset that the ladies weren't invited to the ball this year for the directors. Did you feel like any of the exclusions were egregious this year? Or do you think that the best five nominees, or at least a worthy set of nominees, did get up there?
Well, I'm more interested in your opinion on this because I
Okay.
guess the one that sticks out to me is Sarah Polley.
Yes.
And so as somebody who's actually seen women talking, what do you think about her exclusion? And then if you were to put her in there, who would you replace?
Let me pull the list up quick because yeah, I did have thoughts on that. Because she does absolutely. I am in agreement with the people in her corner who are pissed that she didn't get consideration.
I
Golly,
think it's the other ones are McDonough, Todd Field,
it's
Ruben Ostlund, Daniels, and Spielberg. So
Osland. Get that hack off
yeah.
of that stage. Like the Daniels, I respect the fuck out of what they did, and I know it's hip and trendy to like them, but the fact that those motherfuckers can be up there, I'm happy with it. Yeah, get rid of Spielberg or Osland. Like I don't know if like any of the like if all of the aggrieved female directors, really deserve it. I haven't seen all of their movies, but Sarah Polley, I definitely think should have been up there, considering other people who have won in the past and other people who have been nominated in the past, and just the power that that movie had, given how little she was doing. Compare her to like a director like Steven Spielberg and the movie she wound up making. It's like, I don't know, it's like for just like a stage play movie, like it's a better one than The Whale is. I'll get to that, but um yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Like, but like, do you kind of
Yeah.
agree though? It's Osland and Spielberg who are the weak links.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, in of those five, definitely. Yeah, the all the love for Triangle of Sadness is very strange to me because again, I think these people have zero self-awareness and they don't realize that that movie is about them. A lot of these people that are voting for
Mm-hmm.
these awards. So,
Oh God.
but yeah, I guess the last thing I wanted to say is another thing, and this happens every year, that another thing people are pissed about is their pet favorite horror film of the year not being nominated. And
Yeah.
I just want to say that, you people who think that, you fundamentally misunderstand the types of movies that get nominated for Oscars. And your horror movie like of the year, whatever it be, whether it's Nope or something else, is never going to be nominated for Academy Awards. And just like, I don't know why people don't save their breath on stuff like that,
Yeah. I
it's like, just think about it before you run to your keyboard and type out that tweet being pissed about something like that. Just think about it for a second.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I was definitely one of those people for a very long time. But like I flipped a switch at some point and some maturity set in for me personally. And yeah, it's like no, you just have to accept what the Academy is and understand that your tastes definitely are not the Academy's. And you also kind of have to have some nuance and understand that, well, maybe you don't appreciate just kind of like the overall holistic excellence that some films may have versus, your favorite slasher movie that, had some elevated discourse in it. Like, yeah, slow your roll a little bit, broaden your horizons, and maybe consider that you aren't right. And that, maybe horror isn't for everyone. So stop trying to like slam it in everyone's face, which is kind of what A24 does. And other, and I guess, and Blumhouse too. It's like, but yeah, all these cheerleaders, like, especially Mia Goth, who we're going to be talking about a lot today. That lady in particular was one of, like, she's empowering these people because she's going off and saying, like, the Academy just doesn't take us seriously. And I'm sitting here going, like, you're the lady that wrote that monologue in Pearl. So, like, you obviously have no self-awareness to even know what kind of movies you're in.
Mm-hmm.
In the first place.
Yeah.
But that kind of now to move away from the highfalutin stuff, it's time to, talk about, the Razzies. Because, yeah, my movie of the year, my favorite from 2022, is kind of like leading the pack for the Golden Raspberries, from what I understand. But I don't know, the Razzies are a joke. And some people, are willing to have a sense of humor about themselves and yada yada. So why are we suddenly now defanging what is supposed to be something that's like it mean-spirited to a degree? Why are we making the Razzies lame?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know why they exist in our current year because they're so like they're pointless at this point. They used to be sort of a fun distraction, and now they're sort of caught in a place between tiptoeing around a minefield of like offending people and like just being like incredibly toothless. And I don't know, they've never in sort of the past decade or so, they've never been able to justify their existence because they've every single year it seems like they're apologizing for something because it's like, people were pissed about Bruce Willis being nominated. People were pissed about Ezra Miller being nominated. People were pissed about I guess the reverse of this is people were pissed about this like Redeemer Award, which I didn't even know was a thing, but
Yeah, neither did I.
they like apparently award like an award basically to say, oh, we're sorry we nominated you. You actually are a better actress, or you were actually in a good movie this year, so let's redeem you. And so I don't know. To me, the Razzies should be trashy. They should be classless. They should be offensive. And I don't have a problem with any of those things. That's what they should be.
See, and I think for me, where it all completely collapsed, like where they completely abandoned that spirit, it was with the Bruce Willis situation, because they were like, no, this man is in horrible movies, and he deserves to be shamed for it. And then we found out about his health condition, and it was just like, oh, okay, well, we can't be assholes in 2020 whatever anymore. So yeah, we're the Razzies. We're an institution. People take us seriously now, and we want to keep people happy. We're about making people happy. That's what the Razzies are about. No, the Razzies were about making other people happy at other people's misfortune, because they made horrible career choices or did really horrible artistic endeavors, and they deserve to be spotlighted and shamed for what they are. It's really dumb that we have hit this point now where these guys who operate this list every year now are like wondering like who they're gonna piss off, who they're gonna make sad and feel bad about themselves, and that's their primary concern, and not doing exactly that, which is making people feel bad. The people who made the shit, you're supposed to be making them feel bad. Like, now we have to, this is my thought. This is actually what I thought of as soon as I saw they gave that kid that nomination and then took it away. I was like, well, what about that kid from Star Wars? That man is like imploding, like like the whatever his name is, who played Anakin in Episode 1. His life, Jake Lloyd. Like that man was like that child was bullied into manhood, and his life is in ruins. And I see no one apologizing to him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if there is a case to be made for them sort of apologizing to someone, I guess this is probably the best. I mean, they probably shouldn't have nominated a 12-year-old girl, and I don't know, there should have been some foresight there to maybe. I mean, now they have they have a rule now that you have to be, I think, 18 or older to be nominated, and that's probably a good thing, but
maybe
all of these other things are ridiculous. And all this, as I was reading through the nominees, all this really seems like to me now is like a lame way for like Jimmy Kimmel writers to like poke fun or like put their little stupid jokes in. Like the one thing that stood out to me was like Andrew Dominique's relationship to women or something like that. That was like one of the nominees, and I'm just like, that's what this is turning into. It's just turning into like a stupid way to get their dumb little like late night talk show jokes into the nominees. It's lame.
It's lame. It's for the memes, but it's all pointless now. Because the primary concern is what the dirty pores on Twitter think about what you've said and done.